Hello everyone, Palash here. Today we are going to learn uh, another very interesting concepts called as cause and effect, the concepts and their application. I hope you've watched the previous videos on assumptions and conclusions. Uh, Continuing the streaks or the sessions of our verbal reasoning, this is another very interesting topic that we will cover today. Now, agenda is very simple. We'll quickly look at what is causality or causal relations, understand the concepts that are applicable for our exams, and then apply and solve some 15 questions that I've given as a sheet. Now, to begin with, so let's, without wasting time, let's get started with understanding what is the nuance of this chapter, what is the trick of this chapter that particularly exams consider that one aspirant should know. So what is causality? You might have thought, some of you are very new to this formal logic and therefore might have heard this word for the first time. So what is the meaning of the word causality? If you look at the Merriam dictionary, it says something that is a causal or a quality agency. It's a relation between the cause and its effects, or between regularly correlated events or phenomena. And the interesting word is regularly correlated events. The word web defines it as a relation between the causes effect. So basically, causality links with something as a effect of cause and their effect, the actions or events which are arranged in terms of cause and effect. Now, where is it applicable? I think causality plays a role in n number of things, in determining things across environment, components, designing human processes, maintenance, understanding philosophy, causal link, God is supposed to be the first cause, and so on and so forth, right? And we have a network of it. I mean, in our engineering, we were taught as an engineer to find out the root cause analysis, to do the root cause analysis to find out the exact root of why something is happening and disturbing the whole machine or a particular component. Now, so I believe understand causality is a very, very familiar word. It basically links up, and there is a network of causes. The one can relate to two can further relate to three, four, five, and everything can be related to a chain of events where some causes can have multiple effects and some effects can have multiple causes. So we are here to elaborate in exam what is this concept applicable to, and how we will narrow it down, or what are the nuances that we need to keep in mind. That is what we'll learn today. So I think one cause having a multiple, like, let me give you just a quick examples. I think one COVID caused the whole world to stop. So many effects it had. Many causes having one effect. I think global warming is one effect that is caused by many causes. So it's a chain of events, guys, that we need to look at elaboratively. However, in our exams, the questions will be framed in such a way that there will be a statement given to us, and then they will give you options to link it also, and then they will ask you how we can connect those two particular options, and which of the option best reflects the connection between those two given statements or those two events. So before we get to the concepts, it's a general philosophical discussion that the deterministic philosophy promoted by Hegel and other Western European philosophers put life as a meaningful thing, and they view that everything in life therefore has a cause and its effect, and therefore they believe that God becomes the first cause. However, the opposite debate is about being a squistic philosophy, which says that it's just a random event. There are coincidences which sometimes happen, but anything that is happening is not necessarily meaningful. It's a coincidence that it sometimes happen, and therefore there is no purpose that the universe is evolving into. And therefore the deterministic philosophy promotes that there are events may have causal links, that is, they are regularly having a causes and their effects, while the non deterministic philosophy says that where we have non-causal links, and then two events may have be correlative, they can be coincidental, but they are not necessarily correlated. Now, for exam purposes, we will take this philosophy into consideration and determine that everything has a cause and effect, and therefore as a concept, what we need to learn is what we discover. So usually the exam framing of the questions is they give you two events by 1 and 2, and then they give you these 4-5 options, which I'm just elaborating. You can in exam get a slight modification or modified options as well, which in my exercise today I've covered. But believe me, I think these are the more generic options, which says that A needs to be understood when one is the cause and second is the effect. So if one is responsible for the second one, then you need to mark the A. If second is the cause and first is the effect, so you're supposed to look at if the link is this way, then we have a B. Now C, which is a very funny option, which is almost never an answer, which says the statement are independent causes. So it says one is also a cause of God knows what, and even second is a cause of God knows what. I think that is something that we will try to refrain. There are chances to almost zero that this will become the correct answer. So let's cancel this option. D, which says both are effects. So we can view it as that saying that this is an effect of a different cause and this is another effect of a different cause. So that option goes as D, that both of them are effects of different cause. And sometimes if they are understanding that C is probably never going to be the answer, so they will cleverly modify the C to an E and perhaps can say that there is a common cause actually which is giving you these two effects. So both 1 and 2 are actually the common causes, are the effects of a common cause. So basically there is a common cause which is giving up the first and the second, and these both events are effects. So you can pause the video for a while and then digest this options, because it might create a bit of problem because you're doing it for the first time. It might seem that which one is which and which is never technically the answer. So just pause the video and just absorb this up, that what are they meaning, the options, the 5 typical options, out of which C, which says both of them are independent causes of God knows what, is technically never an answer, or we should refrain from marking this as an option. And then there are 2 options more which is given instead of the C, which is the E, which has a common cause. Now, having said that, let's look at a question and let's look at an example, and then we can further get into the concept of how to solve these particular questions. So if I gave you this simple generic event and say Raj ate his lunch and he was feeling anxious, and I give you these options which says A is first is the cause, second is the effect, second is the cause, one is the effect, C, both of them are independent causes of God knows what, so technically refrain from it, D, saying both of them are effects of independent causes, and E, which are saying both 1 and 2 are effects of some common cause. Now, if you look at this, if you just pause a video and make a choice, it will be easy for you to understand the nuance of this chapter. So, okay, if you have made a choice, I think some of you might think that it could be A, that because of eating his lunch, he would have started feeling anxiety. So we could go for A. I think people could also think as B, that because he was feeling anxious, he just ate his lunch. I mean, that could also be possible. C is a more funnier way, saying that Raj ate his lunch is a cause and he was feeling anxious is also a cause, is a more illogical way of looking at it, and then therefore we refrain from marking this option. Saying that, okay, Raj ate his lunch has an effect but has a different cause, and then he was feeling anxious is also an effect but it has a different cause, is, I think, more sensible rather than saying the A or the B. And what about E? If because Raj is a human being, he had both. So I have a common cause that being human is one of the common cause which actually linked both of them, that he started to feel anxious and then he ate his lunch. So now there are so many explanations, because if we just look at it, I think everything makes sense. I mean, A also makes a relative sense, B also makes a relative sense in a subjective way. People can vary and ask that I think that being human is also a good cause, that they can connect this both. So what are the concepts that we particularly define? However, to your knowledge, the answer to this question is definitely D. If in NMAT or any other non-CAT exam this question is asked, I think we should safely mark D as the correct answer. Why and how? Let's explore. So here's an elaboration of the options that I've just created. There are three causal options, sometimes saying something like A, which says one is the cause and second is the effect, or the vice versa, second is the cause, one is the effect, or both 1 and 2 are the effects of the common cause. Now, both option A, B, and E are going to refer to something which we call as causal links or causal relations. The other option, which is C, which is mostly never an answer, and the option D, which says 1 and 2 are effects which have a different cause, which is option D, are basically relating it to non-causal relation. Now, what is causal and non-causal? Let's understand. So, or the concept that is needed. So, first thing, I think there is always a problem to determine that is A the cause or B the cause, or is A the effect or B the effect. I think there is a very interesting logic test which is called as a since therefore test, which can be applied to find the sequence of order into which we can find and we can mark the correct answers as. For example, you can read the statements and saying that since one happened, therefore second, and that will help you determine that, okay, since one is the cause and therefore the second happened is therefore the effect. Or you can read since second happened, which is the cause, and therefore the first happened, which is the effect. So since therefore test, for example, in this case, if you would have gone for since Raj was feeling anxious, sorry, since Raj ate his lunch, therefore he felt anxious, doesn't seem good. However, if we go as since he was feeling anxious, therefore he ate his lunch, still makes some sense, I mean, in a cruder way. So always to find out if you're confused between determining the sequence of thought, I think the since therefore test is going to be very, very helpful for you. Just put since before the cause, before the first statement, put effect before the second statement, read it. If it makes sense to you, go for that link. And then if it doesn't, I believe, go for the opposite one. So that's one trick that will help you determine the correct order. Now, the three important concepts which I say to help you understand and get the higher accuracy in these chapters are three. The causes, whichever you put as a primary cause, should always qualify these three things, which I say, number one, it should be one of the principal causes. It should not be a tertiary or a secondary cause. It should be the primary cause for the effect. For example, if I say, why do people eat lunch? I mean, eating of the lunch, you can't say anxiety is the primary cause of people eating lunch. People eat lunch because they are hungry. People eat lunch because it's a routine activity. But feeling anxiety and then eating lunch is something that is rarely happening, not a primary cause. So that's how we first find out that they should be linked up in their primary causes. Also, very interesting, the second one, which is the effect should be immediate in the timeline, should be immediate or closely related in the timeline. Now, the cause of the reasons also must have a effect immediately. It should not be that, okay, he had certain disease which prolonged him to make his lunch. So I'm not going to assume it if it's not written. I will not assume that there are any subsidiary or any preliminary causes which are not mentioned here. So just keep that in mind, that the connection, the causal link should be also immediate. So two things, principal and immediate, is the filter that we can create. Now, with that knowledge, sorry, I can just say that The answer is not A, because you cannot say principal and immediately if anybody eats his lunch, he starts to feel anxious. So that's a wrong causal link. Similarly, B is not the valid answer, because principal and immediately we can't say if somebody is feeling anxious, he's going to eat his lunch. I mean, he can eat dinner, or he can go to a doctor, or he'll drink water. But probably eating the lunch is the least bothered activity that immediately is going to be followed. So, similarly, I cannot even say that being human is a immediate cause. It's a common cause, I can completely agree, but it's not an immediate cause which will link up both of these things together. I hope you're understanding, and therefore, obviously, I cancelled the E. C technically never the answer. Therefore, the best option to mark here in this case was Delhi, which automatically boils down to saying that Raj ate his lunch for principal immediately a different cause. So a P plus I, let's say cause 1. Maybe he was feeling hungry and then he was feeling anxious because there was a board meeting, or there was his appraisal meeting, or any other reason. But this is not the different cause, and this is not therefore there is not a common cause as well. So I hope this is again not painful. If you just absorb these options, understand that all we need to find is a causal or a non-causal relation between two events. And why? How do you say it's a causal event? Okay, so it's very thing in the very definition it was that something that happened regularly correlated events. For example, let me give you an example. If I say I ate an ice cream yesterday and today my throat is not very good, in a good state. Now this event is not causal. This event is coincidental or correlative, something that happened just by chance. However, if I present you the statement like this, that every time I eat an ice cream, I feel sick or I feel my throat itching, then we can say, because now something is happening on a regular basis, this can have a probable causal cause. So what are causal events? Causal events have a regularity. So I say it in a very simple principle. If you repeat the cause, you repeat the effect, at least 99.99% of time. And in this case, therefore, we have to take this probability, because at 0.1% of time, or even sometimes 1% of time, it might not happen. I mean, the universe has another theory which is called as the butterfly effect, or the theory of chaos, the chaos theory, which says that nothing in the universe exactly repeats itself. There is always a dynamic connection which never lets it repeat it in the same exact amount. So I'm not here to discuss the physics or the theory of universes here, but I'm just giving you an important link that we need to keep in mind, that there is a probability that these two things are going to be connected. So just remember the mnemonic is the PIP way, the principal and immediate, and the P stands for these two happening probably. There is not a definite reason why they're going to occur, but there may be probably a good amount of reason in a generic way that we can go for these things. Now, having said that, let's quickly look at a question. A Reserve Bank of India has recently put restrictions on few small banks in the country. The small banks in the private and the cooperative sector in India are not in the position to withstand the competition of the bigger banks in the public sector. So these two are the events. The RBI has put up a restriction on some small banks in the country, and then the second event is given that the small banks or private cooperative banks are not in the position to withstand the competitions of bigger or larger banks in the public sector. Now, if I apply my since therefore test, I can find out the sequence that I don't think that these two are related in any sequence. Just because Reserve Bank of India had put restrictions, they are not in a position, or they are just not in a position that they have put restrictions. I mean, in a since therefore test, a link between 1 to 2 is not possible, but a 2 to 1 is kind of possible, that just because they are not in the position, they could have urged the RBI to have put restrictions. But do you see a principal and immediate connection between them? That just because they are not in a position, that is the reason why Reserve Bank of India has put restrictions? I think no. So I found the sequence that if the sequence would have been, it's definitely not would have been a 1. It would have been a 2, but I do not find there is a direct link. C is definitely not the answer, and I cannot see a common link between the both as well, which is principal and immediate. So on the grounds of which I decide that D is going to be the correct answer for this one. So you can pause a while, you can just digest this up, revisit it, forward the rewind the video, and just see what I just explained. Let's look at another one. All the schools in the area have to be kept closed for most part of the week. Many parents have withdrawn their children from the local schools. Now, you can pause the video, you can take the option, think what should be the answer, except for C. C is almost never an answer. Okay, now, if you've made your choice, answer is again Delhi. Why? Look at read it very carefully. See here, all the schools in the area had to be kept closed for most part of the week. So let's say out of 7, they were closed 5 days out of 7. And then the second even says many parents have withdrawn their children from local schools, not all schools. So these two events are two different events and two different timelines also. So how can I find them causally related to each other? So I don't think the since therefore is going to connect them principally, and I cannot even find a common link between them. I mean, if you think pandemic is one of the reasons, if you are thinking about it, I don't think pandemic can be a major reason for the first one. It can be a reason for the second one, but most part of the week was closed. But then what about, they were closed for years, right? And they were shifted then online. So I think not a principal and immediate cause, and hence I cannot forcibly link it. So what I want to say from these two examples, guys, is do not use brute force to connect, neither use brute force to disconnect. If you see an obvious, normal, general link, try and pick up the since therefore and find the sequence and mark the answer. If you do not see a link, do not force the link and do not forcibly attack the link as well. I hope this is clear to you. All I need to understand is the 3 important things that cause and effect have. It should have precedence, so the since therefore test. It should have covariability. If causes vary, results vary. And then contributory, the causes are not questionable. They should be always the primary cause. So this is the 3 concepts that I've just boiled it into: the principal and immediate, and of course the causal one that will help you determine. So all you need to check is they are principal or immediately related. If they are not, they are just associated to each other. They are not causally linked. Okay, now having said that, let's quickly apply it to the concepts. So here I have a different set of options. Let's read the options carefully and find out what they are. First option says one is the main cause and second is the main effect. So basically our A says that one is the main cause and second is the main effect. So let's say this is the main cause and the main effect. Now B says one is the effect but second is not the main cause. So one is the effect. So the since therefore will put one as an effect, but second is not the main cause. This is my option B. The C says if 2 is the main cause and 1 is the main effect, so it's the reverse of this. 2 is the main cause now and then 1 is the effect, is my C option. And D is the opposite of this, that 1 is not the main cause. So okay, so this still means that 2 is the effect now. Two is the effect, but 1 is not the main cause. So try and during the exam also, I've seen students making a lot of mistakes because it's not a difficult chapter, but the options are a little complex, and in a rush we make errors. So just be careful. sorry, just be careful, read the options carefully, understand, because people think correctly, they mark it wrong. Okay, that what are the options? So you can take a snapshot of this because I'm going to quickly solve these. So A and C basically tells about the causal link, B and C tells about the non-causal links, and then there is an E which says statement 1 or 2 can be a cause. So technically never an answer, because thinking both of them to be a cause is kind of an illogical way of thinking. Moving ahead quickly to the concept, application of it. Okay, children are being encouraged to take up football to boost participation in the sport. Football is a dying sport. So, can I see a causal link? Okay, I see, because football is a dying sport, that's basically the causal cause of saying that children are being encouraged to take up football to boost participation. If you inspect this might be a difficult scenario for you because you might not be able to link it, the very first question. So try and get this. The first one, if you break it down, for example, you say children are being encouraged to take up football to boost participation. Isn't the first statement itself is a cause and effect? Because children are being encouraged to take up football to boost participation. So if you look at the first one, you're saying that children are to boost participation. Children are encouraged. So this is the cause, and children are encouraged for being children being encouraged. Now, if I just ask this cause, why are children encouraged, I will always get the answer as to boost participation in the sport. Now, I have to ask this a question that, okay, why do you want to boost participation in the first place? So if you agree that, okay, if football, so why do we boost participation in anything? If anything is dying, if any sport is not working, I think therefore I believe second will become the main cause for first to happen. So since football is a dying sport, that is why children are being boosted, children are given and boosting participation. To boost participation, children are encouraged. So I hope that makes sense, and this therefore becomes that second is the main cause. So option becomes C, second is the main cause and one is the main effect. So second is the main cause, one is the main effect. So answer to this will go as C. So sometimes they can give you a bit of question which will be broken down, which you can break down into further cause and effect. So try to always apply the concept in the since therefore way, and I believe that will help you find the correct link. Let's look at the next question. Some medicines are not sold without prescription. Not sold. Some common medicines, when taken in large quantities, can be fatal. So some common medicines, when taken in large quantities, can be fatal, and then some medicines are not sold without prescription. Now, there is a catch happening with the word. Some common medicines are not some medicines. Okay, the common medicine and medicine are two different subjects. So I believe you cannot connect them and say some common medicines are not taken in large quantities, can be fatal, and therefore some medicines are not sold. So these two sentences are definitely not related to each other. So I can clearly go with an option which is definitely not the causal part. So definitely A and C are gone. Now I have to just link up with respect to Bombay and Delhi, that from which order I should go. So just because I believe since this can be happening, therefore some medicines are not sold without prescription, but that's not the main reason for it, right? That's not the main cause of it. So I say one is the effect, but second is not the main cause. So one is the effect, but second is not the main cause, the option B. So we'll go with B. I know it might seem complex, guys, but this is easy. Once the options are clear into your head, it will be easier for you. 18th, Raj and his friends take metro every morning to go to college. Metro is very crowded. Now, I don't think metro is crowded because of Raj and his friends. So I see no causal link. So the answer can be not be A and C for sure. Now, I have to just put the since therefore said since metro is very crowded, therefore Raj and his friends go, or since Raj and his friends go, and similarly many Raj and his friends might go, therefore the metro is crowded. So A is going towards so since A, therefore 2. I think that is what the more correct sequence is. So second is the effect, but 1 is not the main cause. Let's see which option was that. Second is the effect, but 1 is not the main cause of it. So yeah, Delhi. So it's going to be Delhi. Let's move to the next question. Work remained paralyzed for the second day of the 2-day strike called by the advocates. Lawyers in the state had gone on a strike to protest against the higher education research bill, which proposes to curb. So there are lawyers who are on strike to curb, and therefore the work remained paralyzed for 2 days. So I think since lawyers went on the strike, that is the reason why work remained paralyzed. So that's why there is an obvious clear link. So second is the cause, 1 is the effect. Let's check which option was that. Second is the cause, first is the main effect, C. So this answer is going to be C. Let's move to the next. Movie theaters do not take adequate safety measures. Do not. And there are frequent incidents of accidents at movie theaters. So because they don't take adequate safety measures, there are frequent incidents. So 1 is the cause, second is the effect. So 1 is the main cause, second is the main effect. So A. One is the main cause, second is the main effect. Let's look at the next one. Germany has defeated Austria in their football match. So they have defeated Austria, and the German team was very angry since they were not given a decent food. Now, I don't think there is an obvious link between the 1 and 2, but we can see there is a causal, non-causal link, but I have to still find which way it should go. I mean, should I say that they defeated Austria, that is why they were angry? Or should I say that they were angry that they defeated, but that's not the main reason? So I should go from this to this. I should say since 2 happened, therefore 1 happened. I mean, 1 will happen as an effect. So if you're really confused between this, to decide if you're not even convinced with the since therefore test, you can always find out that what happens later will always be the effect. I mean, they will not be not given a decent food, therefore they'll be angry, right? This is before the match, and they defeated Austria. So defeating Austria is going to happen after. So whatever happens, second is the effect. In this case, for example, let's say you can't say that Raj and his friends and metro, just because it is crowded, Raj will take the metro. Raj will avoid the metro in the logical sense. So obviously what will happen later is the metro being crowded. Right, so this is the event that is going to happen later. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, look at 22. The Terminator movie franchisee has earned over $1 billion at the box office. So there's a movie franchisee who is earning dollars. Arnold, the main lead of the movie, The Terminator, is the governor of California. Now, very interesting. So since therefore, if you play, so just because he's the governor, it has earned movie franchisee, or just because the movie franchisee is there, he became the governor. So I think just because of the movie franchisee has earned a lot of things, he has not become a governor. I think just because the governor of and his popularity, therefore, as could be one of the probable reasons, but not the main reason, right? Not the primary and the immediate reason. So since therefore test, I'm going to play from 2 to 1. but 2 not being the one. So I'll say 1 is the effect, but 2 is not the main cause. Okay, so 2 is not the main cause. So 1 is the effect, but 2 is not the main cause. So Bombay. Okay. Next one. A large number of students applying to the online for the engineering entrance could not do because of the network problems over a week before the last date, and therefore the last date of registration has been extended. I think there is a obvious causal link that because many students failed, the last date is extended. So second is the effect and 1 is the main cause. Let's see which option is that. I think that's A. That 1 is the main cause and second is the main effect. So that's A. So answer to this will become A. Next one. Sociologists condemned a caste-based discrimination at the conference post the incident. So this is post the incident of maltreatment of a girl on a moving train today. And then the second even said the lower caste girl was thrown off a moving train in central Mumbai in a broad daylight today. So I think this is going to happen later, and this was happened. That is the reason why they would have condemned a caste-based discrimination at a conference. So I can say this is probably the main reason, the principal and immediate cause. I mean, why will they condemn it in general? So second is the cause, second is the main cause, and 1 is the effect. So second is the main cause, 1 is the effect, is C. So the answer to this will become C. Let's move to the next one. Import duty on steel has been removed completely by the government. Steel prices took a nosedive recently. I think whenever these things are given, obviously they will have a direct ratio, they will have a direct impact on the price. So I think 1 is the main primary reason behind the second. So 1 is the main cause and second is the effect. That is again in option A. 1 is the main cause, second is the main effect. Moving to the next one, 26. Some countries have banned Facebook, and Facebook is the most popular social networking site at the present time. So just because it is most popular, it can't be banned, and just because it's banned, it can't be popular. So they are not causally related, but then which is going to happen later? I think the banning is going to take, let's take logically that banning is going to be local because it's most popular. That is the reason why they might ban it, or it might be misused, and therefore, so I think 2 is going to happen later. So second is the effect, but 1 is not the main cause. Okay, the 1 is not responsible for it. So second is the main cause. So second is the effect, but 1 is not the main cause. Is option Delhi. Okay, second is the effect, but 1 is not the main cause. Delhi. Next one. College has decided to introduce a uniform, and uniforms promote discipline. So I think because uniforms promote discipline, they would have decided. So this is C. That second is the cause, and first is the effect. This is the main cause, and first is the main effect. So C. 28. Uranium is used in nuclear reactor. Uranium is naturally occurring radioactive element. So just because anything is naturally occurring radioactive element, it's not the primary reason it is used in it is used in a nuclear reactor, right? So obviously second is the cause, but obviously it can't be the vice versa. So the link is going to be the second is not the main cause. but one is the effect. So let me check. Second is not the main cause. Okay, second is not the main cause, but one is the effect, is Bombay. Okay, last two. The government has decided to involve private sector, so involve private sector in the weapon delivery, and the private sector has an excellent record of timely delivery. So why will they involve? Just because they have an excellent record of timely delivery? No, not necessarily. They will excellently, they will just not involve. That's a requirement they would have given, right? So they are involving it because they are in need of it, not because they just hold an excellent requirement. I mean, see, a cat is going to take you not just because you have a great percentile, but they have a requirement for the top. They have certain seats which if you qualify, so you having an excellent record are just a criteria that you have to meet, but it's just not the reason that why they are taking you, right? They want you, they desire you, they have to fill the seats with you, is the primary reason. So that's what this is going to be, the primary reason. So this is not going to be the main cause. Okay, so second is not the main cause, but one is definitely the effect, which is again this one. The second is not the main cause, so Bombay. And the last one, the finance ministry recently tabled the union budget, and the union budget received mixed reaction. So just by tabling it did not receive, I mean, the tabling of the budget is not directly responsible or the principal and immediate reason for mixed reactions. So the contents of the budget will definitely be having the mixed reaction. So again, I will say the fun is the cause but not the main cause. One is not the main cause, and second is the effect. So that option is, let's check, 2 is the effect, but what is not the main cause is Delhi. So this one will go as Delhi. So I think that's all. I hope this is an easier concept. A bit of confusion happens only, and error happens only if we understand it ambiguously, or we understand it clearly but we don't verify. We just hypothetically assume and mark the answers. So I hope you have learned the concept. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching and learning. Bye-bye.